Hello and thanks for tuning in. I'm Holly Shields here for Kalkine Media and welcome to another edition of Executive Corner Expert Talks. Today we'll be exploring CV Check, the leading provider of end-to-end red tech and pre-employment screening solutions internationally. And joining us today is none other than CEO Michael Ivanchenko. Welcome to the show, Michael. It's great to have you with us.
Thanks, Holly. Great to be here.
Pleasure to have you on. First and foremost, for the unacquainted, how is CB1 helping clients create a smarter and safer workplace?
So for us, having a safer, smarter workplace is all about ensuring you have the information and confidence about the data about your workers, about the people who are interacting with your business, to ensure that you can move forward with confidence, but also to freeze the organisation up so that they can concentrate on their core business without having to worry about the administration and the overhead that occurs with compliance.
Right. It sounds like efficiency is a large factor there, rather.
It is a big part, and it's the efficiency that unlocks the other opportunities. So if you can get information in an efficient, timely way, then you can do something with it. As opposed to having a manual retrospective process, by the time you need that information, it's potentially out of date.
Absolutely. And we know that accurate, timely personal compliance information is really imperative across all industries and workplaces these days. So how...
And getting more so. It's a really important point, Holly, because it is the more and more as requirements come in for various sectors and industries. We've seen the Royal Commission into aged care. We've seen all of the reports in the mining and industrial sectors and the issues that have occurred there. All of those are alleviated by having access to reliable, confident information. So you've got to be able to trust the information and you've got to be able to get it quickly.
100%, very well said there. And speaking on your Cited platform, how is this helping your customers meet this need?
Cited is a custom developed platform that has actually been built after many, many years of industry experience in compliance and knowing what is actually required in a real world setting. So the complexity of monitored or real-time compliance is that it varies not only from location to location, but company to company or role to role. And you may have one worker who actually has different requirements for the same piece of information across different businesses or different locations. So that matrix of complication is otherwise either means things fall between the cracks or requires tremendous manual overhead. Cited solves that.
Right, that is, I think, really important. That is an issue that's solved. It sort of bridges, I think, those challenges for these
Indeed.
Earlier this year, you signed an agreement as well with Higher Up for real-time compliance monitoring of their workforce, which I think really highlights your technology's success in the healthcare industry and beyond. Could you shed some light on this move for us?
So Higher Up is really important for us because not only does it actually take us into the healthcare sector, we're able to win that contract without actually modifying the platform in any way. So it's exactly the same platform that is deployed at the likes of BHP, Woodside and Rio Tinto. And here we're deploying it into Australia's largest NDIS service provider. So all of their workers that they actually assist in bringing on to support their customers, we were able to provide that service straight out of the bat. Or out of the box, I should say.
That's incredible, and I think it is particularly needed in really buzzing sectors like healthcare. So that is great to see, especially in light of everything the industry has experienced over the past couple of years. It's great that you've been able to offer that support.
And one of the key features that I'd call out is this is a requirement where you will have these workers going into different people's houses every day. So it is not a case that you can just do these checks when you bring this person into the organisation. They have to be up to date. They have to be monitored. If there is a change, it has to be flagged. If there's a new requirement that has to be brought on, you need to capture that and enact it. And they're the type of examples of the complexity across different industries that we can handle.
Absolutely. That is great to see overall. Now, CP1 has had a really strong March quarter in 2022 with revenue growing over 64%. So overall, it seems like your three-pronged CGI growth strategy is working. Could you maybe help our audience understand this strategy and how it's strengthening your revenue base going forward?
Certainly. So we have the great position that we've brought together two successful businesses. The traditional CV check, pre-employment and credential validation screening business, and we've brought together with, when we acquired Bright People Technologies and the Realtime monitored compliance product, means we have a couple of bows in the quiver, if I may, to actually call upon to ensure we continue to build the business. So we've got very strong performance. CV Check is Australia's and New Zealand's most known premier screening brand. And we've seen very good continued growth across that product, hence the consolidator of the CGI. And at the same time, we want to expand the reach and in some cases actually take on an educational role in the market about the benefits of our RegTech solution in having monitored compliance. So we're in a somewhat unique position as a technology company that we are actually funding our own development. We are successful in a deployed platform and we're able to invest in the future at the same time.
It's incredible. It seems like you have a really strong growth trajectory ahead of you and you are very well placed in the industry.
Yes, I would absolutely say that. And it's a very good time for the RegTech industry overall, I think, because as requirements increase with the Infrastructure Act or awareness of other sectors that the need and the ongoing complexity around ESG requirements, for instance, that compliance continues to be more and more onerous on organisations, and the need to actually automate it has never been clearer.
Absolutely. Now, we know from studies that organizations with less than around 5,000 workers do tend to spend more than $2,500 per year per person on compliance. How would you say that CB1's diversified initiatives help in bringing down the overall compliance costs?
So we see that cost made up of all of the inputs that are required in an organisation to manage compliance. And it doesn't actually include the indirect costs of failures or where there are any issues. But having an organisation required to manage compliance without a system such as Cited means that you end up increasing not only your person overhead to actually manage those functions, but also takes away the time of the day for the individuals to provide that information. So not only is there a direct cost or overhead to the organisation, there's an opportunity cost.
Right. I think that really adds up the expenses for these businesses.
Very much so. As I say, for us, it's not only is it a direct saving, but allowing organisations to focus on why they exist in the first place and freeing them up to do that, we see is the key benefit.
Absolutely. Now, you've been focusing on making your position stronger in the global RegTech market. So we'd love to hear about your company's immediate plans for growing the SaaS business and further international expansion that's potentially on the horizon for you.
So it's certainly, we have very, very strong international aspirations and working with our partners that we have overseas already and how we can accelerate that. I will also say, I think we've got a long way to go to make sure that we optimise our position in the Australian-New Zealand market, and that's certainly a focus at the same time. But the solutions we provide, not only do they span industries, it equally spans jurisdictions. So whether you're moving in or operating in a location such as Australia, where we have very high levels of compliance requirements, we still have a role to play in automating, or whether you go into a market where there is very little compliance, moving from zero and up further, higher up the compliance chain means we can actually get very good wins for companies in a very short space of time to actually accelerate them up that ladder.
Right. And I'd love to know how you're placed financially to really take advantage of this growth that you're looking into and making the best of the growing demand as well.
we're in a very strong position. So we have over $12 million in the bank. We have no debt. We've been cash flow positive from operations for the last 8 quarters consecutively, and I don't see any reason why that won't continue. And we continue to then build the new markets and increasing market share. So all in all, operating on a very strong base of the fundamentals of the organisation, we continue to increase revenue. We continue then to invest in expanding the product set to extend our market reach, but also our developments are designed to assist in taking cost out of the business at the same time. So all in all, we think we're in a very strong position.
Absolutely. It does sound like you're very well placed there on the financial front. So good to see. You've obviously had a major year just this year alone. So that is incredible. Now, I'd love to touch on the digital credential passport, and when do you expect it will hit the market?
So our digital credential passport is complete. It's locked and loaded, and the announcements will be going out imminently. And we see that as a real game changer, because for the first time, workers will be able to store, control all of the data and the privacy around their credentials, who they share it with, but be able to interact with the system in an efficient, genuinely digital way. So our credentials passport does actually become, if you like, the centerpiece of all of our technology pieces moving forward. And with the added unique position we have in the group, that in a lot of cases, organizations wanting to introduce yet another app, yet another piece of technology, the question becomes, how do I initially get people to download it? Well, to date, CV Check has validated the credentials. We validated over 7 million credentials since inception. So, and we continue to build that number at an accelerating rate. Every one of those people that comes through the platform will be able to access their credentials, validated credentials, via the passport. So there's an immediate trigger why we are able to get mass scale of our passport. The other aspect that it has is a verified digital identity. Increasingly in this digital age, we've all heard of the Know Your Customer initiatives, etc. And here we're now providing a similar concept that you have a guarantee, a trusted chain of information about your workers and the people you're doing business with, whether that's a workers' comp insurance policy or public liability, or a capability that I have to be on site. Not only do you have a back to source of that validated credential, you have a validated digital identity of who you're dealing with. And increasingly, to accelerate, to entrench and just make ubiquitous the digital interactions that we're just seeing everywhere, that's a critical part.
That's incredible. I mean, it's safe to say that CV Check is ahead of the times here, and that digital credential passport will be a game changer.
We think so. So we're really looking forward to it, and very, very near future when we announce it to the market.
Absolutely. We look forward to seeing it as well. And as well as everything you have on the horizon this year, we'll definitely keep an eye out for that. But with that said, thanks very much for making time for us today, Michael, and sharing your insights for an Executive Corner Expert Talks.
Thanks, Holly. Appreciate it.
Pleasure to have you on the show. Thanks for your time as well there, viewers. If you've just joined us, that was Michael Ivanchenko, the CEO of CV Check, or CV1. And if you missed any part of that chat, you can catch the full interview on our YouTube channel here at Kalkine Media. I'm Holly Shields for Kalkine Media.